Good evening, everyone. Today is the day you all became a better speaker. By the end of this presentation, you will have some amazing skills, tactics, strategies to do amazing in your next speech. As a note, this PowerPoint presentation will be shared, so no need to be jotting things down. Just sit back and relax. Starting off, who knows this guy?
Did he win the World Championship Public Speaking this year?
I think he did. This is the Toastmasters World Champ 2019, Aaron Beverly. He's a 30-year-old from Philadelphia, and out of 30,000 participants from 143 countries, he won. His speech is really fantastic. I suggest you all check it out on YouTube. It was really good. Now, Aaron has been a member of Toastmasters for 10 years, so you can imagine that over his time, he's developed some pretty fabulous skills to be able to be the world champ. In the article that someone was written about, they described this as elements of a spy movie. There were 5 setups, payoffs, there was espionage, intrigue, deception, and it was a really good speech. You might imagine his evaluation was all 5s. No brainer. But how do we, the common folk, reach Aaron's level? Aaron's been a member for 10 years. Has anyone else been a member of Toastmasters for 10 years? Seeing none.
Wayne.
Wayne, how many years?
7.
Pretty close. Pretty close. Wayne, the future master of Toastmasters. But how did we all get there without investing 10 years? Isn't there a fast track, some strategy we can use? Well, I believe there is. And tonight, I'm going to lay it out for all of you. As Kevin mentioned, over my year and change of Toastmasters, I believe I developed a pretty effective template for writing, rehearsing, and delivering a speech in no time at all. I'm going to go through each of these sections one by one with plenty of tactics, tools, and tips that you can use to become a better speaker. Let's start off with writing. The most important thing you need to figure out first is, what kind of speech is this? Is it a humorous, entertaining speech, like a personal story? Or is it something social, inspiring? You could be giving a toast at a best man speech, like Alex. How'd that go, by the way?
Well, really well.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone.
Or it could be something informative. Maybe you're trying to teach something to the audience they may not know. If you're using humor, that could be the entire speech, or it could be elements of the speech. So it could be a funny transition to your next topic. If you're going to use humor, timing, need to be succinct, and make sure it's universal. It should be something that the majority of the audience will understand or recognize. Now this is, in my opinion, where most people get stuck. This is what deters people from doing speeches, because how can you choose one topic? There are so many things to choose from. It becomes analysis paralysis. However, there are 3 main buckets for ideas that you can choose from. First is, what are you knowledgeable about? Something in your job. This could be a hobby. What do your friends and family come to you asking about that you seem to know a little bit more than the average person? Perfect material. What are you passionate about? What are you nerding out about? When your significant other is rolling their eyes from you talking about something ad nauseum, this is the place to talk about it. You pay dues so that the audience has to listen to you talk about whatever you love. So that could be a great topic. What are you curious about? Is there something you want to learn more about that you could research and then deliver an epic speech? Now once you have your idea, the next step is to outline the speech. What's it going to look like? This is a really simple way to outline it. You start off with your introduction, and you create some interest, moving on to describing what the topic is. Then you'll want to have your supporting arguments, so your 3 points, your 3 stories. You'll tie a bow on it, summarizing the topic, and then you'll have a conclusion and usually a call to action. Now, what could this look like? It's a little abstract. So let me give you an example from a speech I gave a couple months ago. This was for my high-performance leadership speech. So for my introduction, it was around the summer solstice, so I thought, okay, I can talk about that. I wanted to create some interest, so I transitioned from summertime to sunscreen to the importance of using sunscreen that doesn't have nasty chemicals in it. And I did a poll of how green our members are and made the argument that living green means you'll live a better life. Followed up with my 3 points, that you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Summarized the topic, explaining my goal for my project, my plan, and my call to action was for all members to live a little bit more green. This easily covered 5 to 7 minutes. As a quick plug, we're still doing the High Performance Leadership Project. I hope you're all still living green. Only a few weeks left. Now, Sid currently maintains the #1 spot. Are you going to let him continue to hold that? I hope not. You still have time. Just need to live a little greener. Back to writing. Descriptive words can really add a fun element to your speech. This could be literal language, specific details, facts, that makes the audience really trust what you're saying. But it can also be figurative language, imagery, painting a picture using words. I think one of the members that does this really effectively is Gifford. The next time you hear him speak, listen for this. He has a way with words. Here are some examples of how you can spice up your speech. You can use similes. He was sly like a fox. Metaphors, piece of cake. Could be symbolism, a heart-shaped necklace. Could be a hyperbole, I waited an eternity. Or it could be a pun. Did you know that a horse is a very stable animal? Specific details really enhance the sensory impact. You could either say the boat, okay, the boat, or the old red boat. You're adding a lot more description to what this boat is that helps the audience really understand it. Word choice as well. Think about the difference between he went home, he ran home, he sprinted home. 3 very different situations. So choose your words wisely when you're speaking. There's also plenty of other literary themes that you can include, such as the plot, setting, protagonist, antagonist, depending on what kind of speech you're giving. All of these can help enhance your speech. As Kevin mentioned, my pathway is persuasive influence because I'm just generally interested in that. And whether you notice it or not, in most of my speeches, I am sprinkling persuasive words throughout, which is putting you into that dreamlike state where you're more willing to agree to my suggestions that I'm throwing at them. If you want the audience to smile and nod more, you can start using some of these words, and your speech will instantly be more persuasive. It's a lot of fun. So we talked about writing. We've got the speech written. Now we need to rehearse it. Best practices for rehearsing. Minimum 2 days before the speech. If you're just starting out, more time, obviously better, but you want at least 2 days because when you practice and sleep and wake up the next day, your short-term memory will have that speech rolling in your head. So at least 2 days is recommended. Bullet points are much more superior to memorization because if you're speaking about something you know very well, you don't need to memorize it line by line. You can just fill in the details. Plus, if you're memorizing something, it's as if you're reading a speech off your eyeballs, and the audience can notice you're not as present as you should be. You can also record yourself speaking, listen to yourself for any ums, uhs, tics, or strange pauses. You could rehearse with your Toastmasters mentor, and if you don't have one, we can help you get one, so you become an expert speaker. You can also time yourself. You want to make sure you're within 5 to 7 minutes for most of your speeches. Now, rehearsing is one thing. Overcoming nerves is another thing. This can be a big hurdle for people when they're afraid to get up on the stage. It can be very nervous when you start out. So there's a few different techniques that you can try out to see what works for you. One of them is a relaxation technique, where you breathe in deeply, tense up from your feet to your shoulders, hold for 10 seconds, and then slowly relax. And do this a few times. Similarly, do that breath in, and while you're exhaling, do om, just activate your vagus nerve, which can really calm you down. Power stance, arms up, or Superman. Suddenly I feel more confident. And you could too. For whatever reason, science backs it that these power poses, or like leaning on the desk, can really make you feel better. So do this a few times before you speak. Or you can just psych yourself out. Imagine, persuasive word, notice, imagine you're a character in a movie. Not yourself, you're an actor. And pretend this character is the epitome of a perfect speaker. Just ready to go, can talk about anything. You want to channel that character through you when you're on stage. That way it's not you being nervous, it's this, you're just playing a role. Someone who's nice and confident. Other things you can do, you can listen to your favorite stand-up comic, you can do a guided meditation, or simply imagine yourself giving the speech ahead of time. There's been studies where they've had basketball players practice free throws, and others who just imagine shooting free throws, and the performance was about the same. So you can just imagine yourself being successful. Mindset. You can also just change the filter in your head for how you respond to nervousness. Instead of feeling failure or worry, be excited. My heart's thumping because I'm excited, I'm ready to go, the blood's flowing, let's do this. So once you've rehearsed, it's time to deliver. And in terms of your inputs for delivery, water good, food no good. You want to avoid the food. You want the blood to be in your head so you can be ready to go and quick as opposed to down here digesting. So save that till after your speech at home or to celebrate at the Foundry with Wayne. Your voice is going to be your North Star for your speech. It's all about your voice. And there's so many different little things about your voice. If you made it a point that every week you would work on one little point, either in a table topics or in a role, you would be a master speaker. So just to list a few. Strong projection, that's what Jimmy's looking at for you. You don't want to be too soft or too loud. You want to be vibrant, dynamic, not flat, not too animated, because that's creepy. You want to be full and varied as opposed to shrill or low-pitched. Not nasally, breathy, or harsh, raspy. Nice and open, mellow, comfortable, enthusiastic, engaging. Nobody wants to see a lifeless speaker. That would not be fun. You want to be clear and articulate, no mumbling, correctly pronounce things, and you want your pausing to be effective. Timing should be smooth, nice and fluid. You want to be deliberate, but also varied. You want to mix it up a little bit. You want to convey emotion, but just enough. You don't want to go overboard. And you want to be natural with your voice. So once you've covered the voice, then you have body language. There's so many things to worry about. Proper posture. Not just to display confidence, but this allows the air to come in so your voice can project. So you want to have nice posture, chest up so the air can get in and everyone can understand you. And this also adds to your confident stance. Because when your posture is good, when you're walking around, people think, yeah, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. Fluid movement as well. You want to be just sort of gliding on stage naturally, not robotic or frantic and not legs locked. You want to be moving on stage. Gestures. There's different types of gestures you can use. It could be descriptive. I have 3 dogs. It could be emphatic. That was so beautiful. It could be suggestive. What do we think? It could be prompting. How many people love chocolate ice cream? Fantastic. Eye contact. It's really good to focus on people for just 3 to 5 seconds because that builds a connection. Any longer and it's also creepy, so you want to keep moving, right? Try to get everyone, just keep rotating. And over 5 to 7 minutes, you're going to make a few rounds through. Facial expression. Tiff did a really good job when she was doing her speech of facial expressions, of the outrage over needing to drink. That made it a really effective speech and made it more interesting and engaging. Now, if you're nervous, you want to relax your face. You want to smile when coming up on stage to help psych yourself up. And you really want to communicate emotion. So as a pop quiz, does he look happy, angry, sad, surprised, or compassionate? What do you think?
Surprise.
Yeah! You got it. So you can do it. You also want to connect with your audience. I think most of us have a good feeling for what we're all about. You want to tailor your message to your audience. You don't want to be speaking at something where people wouldn't understand it or just not right for this type of platform. And as always, avoid stereotypes. Now, for a live demonstration, I want to invite Gilson up on stage.
Doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. You want to do a little power pose with me? Oh, yeah. Oh, this one. You feeling better already?
Yeah.
That's all right. Nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's good feeling.
Woo, you can say like that. All right. Now, I've thrown a lot of information at you. A little bit might be going over your head, maybe most. So I thought, what better way than to take a Toastmasters veteran to just have a conversation and work through what the speech outline is all about. I happen to know that Gilson knows a lot about the Linux operating system, which some of you might not know about. So I thought I could ask Gilson a few questions so we could all learn about it together. So Gilson, would you mind just sharing with the audience what exactly is this Linux thing?
Linux is open source, free operating system that anyone can use it, modify and distribute. Linux is like a program that is allow the hardware to talk with the software. So Linux is the way that make the human to talk to the computer, let's say this way.
Okay, and what is your experience with Linux? What's your history of using Linux?
All began when I was in college. I didn't know anything about computers and I was curious, and I took one class called Introduction to Programming. It was a challenge, but I like a lot and I want to learn more. And I joined to a group of students and professors that they were doing educational software and happened to be in Linux. I didn't know any operating system, so for me it doesn't matter. And then this group liked Linux because they thought that it was the future of the field. So I started to learn Linux with them. We used to meet like twice, once every 2 weeks, and we went to a lab that had like 30 computers, but only them was using Linux. So all the computers needed to have Linux and other operating system for the others. So we needed to learn how to install, to configure, and then we can use it. Linux in that time was so complicated that it was like the beginning, let's see, this way, and we needed to study a lot to make things work. And then after that, I continue to use Linux until now. I needed to use other operating system because the software before was not advanced like today. Because today Linux, you can download Linux. In fact, Linux is just the kernel, is the main part of the operating system. And when it's combined with the graphical user's interface, become that they call Linux, Linux distribution or distro for short.
Now I think that's a good transition into what is one of the key benefits that Linux has to offer. I'm guessing most people here are Windows, Mac, but why should people consider using Linux?
One thing that you can consider Linux is because it's the community. If you have any problem, you can report it, and there are a lot of developers around the world that can solve the problem, and it's much more, let's see, efficient than just a few people working in one project.
And what would another benefit be?
Another benefit, it's free, you don't have to pay. You just need to download it, you need to install and use it. And if you need a program, if you need a software, you just go to your cell phone and click the software that you need, install. It's so easy, and you use it. It's as good as in other operating systems.
That's crazy. Now, is there one more key benefit to using Linux you could think of?
Yes, let's see. Yeah, I think there are a lot of benefits. One that I like it is that Linux is very secure. Like I said, that many people are involved and they can fix it any issue, and you don't need to worry about antivirus and about your files. You don't get hacked easily.
So it sounds like you would recommend Linux to our members.
Yes, if anyone wants to try Linux, please do it. It's I know that most of the people use Windows and Mac, but this is only for desktop and laptop. If you look at the other device, all of them, like most of them use Linux because it's secure, it is free, and a lot of other benefits.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Gilson. Can we give Gilson a round of applause? You see how easy it is to come up with a speech? In a conversation, that's easily 5 minutes. Now, if you were to describe Gilson's performance, would it be groundbreaking, life-changing, unbelievable, or just all of the above? That's what I think I choose. Now, to conclude quickly, this is what I would recommend for your schedule for success. On a Tuesday, sign up for a speech. No idea required. The next few days, you just brainstorm the idea. Over the weekend, you can draft the outline, get your bullet points, do a practice round, make any necessary changes Monday, practice, Tuesday practice, boom, you're going to be ready to go. For some final tips, if you don't have a mentor, please sign up for a mentor. There's a wealth of knowledge in this room that can help each and every one of you. If you're not quite ready for your speech yet, you can warm up in table topics for holding one of the many roles within our meeting. As a personal tip, don't make excuses for yourself. Saying that I'm too busy for speeches. It's okay if it's not a priority, but don't say, I don't have time. Because there is time if you just want to set it for yourself. And I think John made the point earlier that you're paying to be here, so you might as well benefit from it. And there's nothing wrong with failing forward. No one was an expert the first time they tried something. It's okay to have incremental progress as you move along. In closing, sign up for speeches and you'll do great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric, for that very forward